on sugar.
Well, they do. There's no doubt about that. What do you think of this cure-all, Michael, where a little maple syrup with some soda bicarbonate and you drink it? Have you heard of that?
Yes, I've heard of it, and I don't think much of it.
Okay. Let's go to Long Island, New York. Rich is with us on Coast to Coast. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call, George.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Farley, I believe that's how you pronounce your name, Dr. Farley?
Farley it is.
Yeah, I've had hepatitis C, which I picked up in my involvement during the Vietnam War, so I've had it for about 40 years now. I'm 66 years of age. Currently, I'm using vitamins and herbs to do two things. One, to either strengthen the liver, or two, to strengthen the immune system, so that, you know, by the time, hopefully, allopathic medicine will come up with a slam dunk cure, I'll be well enough. The only thing is, I'm spending about $1,600 a month to stay alive by using these herbs and everything. And so, anytime I hear anybody who's knowledgeable about herbs, I was wondering if you had any information with liver disease and herbs that are, I know the typical ones like silymarin and all the things that people usually use. If you found anything that's really efficacious with dealing with specifically hepatitis C or liver conditions in general. And also, someone told me that vitamin D is something that I should avoid. So I take 400 international units 5 times a week. But I really think that there's a lot of research showing that 1,000 international units or 2,000 international units will help me during, you know, the cold season, cold and flu season, when the seasons change like this, because my compromised immune system leaves me open to every shopping cart disease that you can pick up. You know what I mean? So
Right.
those are 2 questions. Is there anything that you've discovered that's particularly efficacious for the liver, as far as rebuilding it? And second of all, is vitamin D safe to somebody with liver disease?
Yes, it is, number one. Number two, Ty mentioned what he felt was the most effective cure for cancer. And in my experience, I have seen probably 4 dozen, 5 dozen serious Hep C cases recover and drop their count down to virtually 0 within about 4 months of its use. What initially happens is the liver sheds the Hep C virus, and your blood count will go up for about anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks, and then you'll find it drops and continues to drop. And it's actually been used very successfully with liver cancer.
What did milk thistle, I guess, would help too, wouldn't it?
Silymarin's beneficial, but the substance or the combination of herbs that Ty mentioned before is probably the most effective method I know of treating it.
And just for folks that weren't on earlier, the treatment I mentioned was called Life1, Lifeone. And you can read all about it if you go to cancertruth.net and click on my newsletter archives. I've done several articles on Life1 treatment.
What kind of response do you get tied to mainstream media? Beyond this show, of course.
It varies, George, to tell you the truth. I've done, after I did the interview with you back in July, I had so many radio requests from different folks all over the place because your reach is so large. I got attacked a couple times by some mainstream guys, and then I got...
well, that's going to happen.
And then I got some kudos from some It really just depends on who it is.
Let's go to Dennis, Hobart, Indiana, on our Skype line. Dennis, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Yes, I was just diagnosed with AFib. I don't know the full name, I can't recall it. And I got to take a stress test and take some blood tests and so forth. But they gave me a couple prescriptions. One stimulates electricity in your heart, and the other one is called Coumadin. But from what I was reading, it said stay away from vitamin K and so forth. And vitamin K is what they use to fight rat poison. I don't know too much about this yet, but I was just wondering if you knew anything about that medicine, or if there's other alternatives to use for the problem I have, or...
All right, Michael, Coumadin's a blood thinner, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is, and it is also a rat poisoning.
It is,
Right.
and you're not supposed to mix vitamin K with it? How come?
Vitamin K is also a blood thinner, and that's what they're using it for.
So why doesn't he just take the vitamin K?
There's a good question. There are also a lot of anticoagulants, such as nattokinase, that are very, very effective and much, much safer, and you don't have to worry about the bleeding that can occur if you're taking too much. But again, the pharmaceutical companies are not making money that way. You can also take several herbs that are in the book for arterial fibrillation, which is an irregular heartbeat. And the reason they give you the blood thinner is when that heart does not beat normally, there is a chance for a clot to form in it.
Nice. That's what they're concerned about then.
Right, but if you took, and I'm not prescribing or anything like that, but Panax ginseng, also called Yunnan Pao or Tianchi, tend to prevent abnormal clots from forming, as do nattokinase, which is a product from soy plants. And I found those to be very, very effective at preventing these clots from forming.
I got to tell you, it is fascinating to see how these herbs work and interact and do what they're supposed to do. I mean, it is amazing, isn't it? There's incredible balance on this planet. Let's go to Cheryl in Friendswood, Texas, east of the Rockies. Cheryl, welcome to the program.
Thank you, George.
Sure.
I appreciate you answering my call. I'm honored to talk to you for the third time over the years.
Well, good. I'm glad you were able to get through.
Yes, sir. For your guests, I would like to know about if there were anything for people like me that have a very, very severe cholesterol issue. Doctors have given me not very many years, honestly, to live, and it doesn't matter what I take. I take Lipitor, and I also take Welchol, one to hit the liver, the other to hit the gut. And it's dropped down, but it really isn't anywhere near it should be, no matter what I do.
How high is it?
Well, we've got my cholesterol down to about 240, but the LDL finally went down to about 150. It's been as high as 300.
Well, that's pretty good, though, 150, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is, but not to them it isn't. But, I mean, they're just hitting me with all these unbelievable drugs. Plus, I'm taking 2 kinds of nitroglycerin.
Well, and you should take, what do they say, Michael? If you're taking a statin, you should take CoQ10?
I take that.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I do. I supplement that. But the issue is that almost every artery in my poor little body is clogged. And they can't stent everything. I've got 3 stents in my heart and my carotid arteries. You know, they just can't stent everything to make everything work. So, is there anything herbal out there, that I could?
Turmeric.
Turmeric?
Sure, absolutely. I'm not the herbalist here, Michael. You are. Go ahead.
No, but actually you're very correct. But I would like to say something about statins. Mm-hmm. The healthiest population on Earth actually runs cholesterol about 250.
Really?
Yes. Cholesterol is the basis for your hormonal system.
Right.
It starts out with cholesterol, converts to DHEA.
Mm-hmm.
Cholesterol also converts to pregnenolone, and both of them can prevent heart attacks. And cholesterol circulates in your lymphatic system.
Right. Well, the body produces a certain amount of cholesterol anyway.
Right. So the sale of statin drugs in this nonsense about keeping cholesterol down to below 150 is absolute nonsense. My cholesterol's run around 140, and I've been trying for 40 years to get it up.
Is that your overall cholesterol, though?
Eat pizza there,
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah.
Really?
Now, the problem with stents is invariably they will become clogged.
Oh, they are. Yes.
And that's the biggest problem with stents.
Can you remove a stent, Michael, once it's put in?
You can if you have a very good cardiovascular surgeon.
Because it works on the principle of a spring, doesn't it? So once it pops up, it's pretty difficult to pop down.
Right. And the problem is this. It's actually a hormonal issue. I can almost guarantee you, as a matter of fact, I would wager you $1,000, that if this woman had a proper hormone panel, you would find she was what we call supraestrogenic. In other words, having too much estrogen and not enough testosterone. And testosterone is what causes the elasticity in the arterial wall. Now, everybody thinks cholesterol is what clogs arterial walls. That's not true. It's sugar, which causes the secretion of insulin. Insulin is what scars the artery wall and gives the plaque a place to stay. So it's actually sugar is your biggest enemy because of the insulin that it secretes and the lesion in the endothelium of the arterial wall. If you do not create that lesion, you can have cholesterol levels that are 300, 400, and they're harmless. It's harmless.
That's good points.
Over time, for example, male testosterone levels have been dropping 1% per year over the last 20 years. Now, as that occurs, we see more and more prostate cancer. We see more and more cardiovascular disease. Without testosterone, we lose elasticity in the arterial wall. So they're not approaching the cause of it. They're, again, treating a symptom. And I would suggest you to find another doctor that will at least look at treating the cause of your problem.
All right, we're going to come back and take some final calls with both of you in just a moment. And Ty, when we come back, I'd like you to tell our listeners what the special deal is with your book, A Guide to Understanding Herbal Medicines, that 2-for-1 deal. We'll do that when we come right back on Coast to Coast AM. Both are wet. Ty Bollinger, why don't you tell us about this special 2-for-1 deal first of all, then we'll go to final phone calls.
Sure, George. Yeah, if you just go to survivalherbs.com and or cancertruth.net, click the little banner with George's picture on it. It'll take you to a buy one, get one free special page where you can purchase one book and get the other for free. And I just want to make it clear that the heart of myself and Dr. Farley are that we would never let money get in the way of somebody having this knowledge, because otherwise we're no better than them. And so we've always made it a policy, I have with my cancer book and we have with our herb book, that if someone needs this information and doesn't have the money, shoot us an email. We'll give you a free ebook, and we'll do that to anybody that is in a financial tough situation, because we don't want money to get in the way of you getting this knowledge. So that's the offer that stands, and it stands to anybody that needs the book.
Well, the knowledge of all of this is so important. Now, what do we do, though, Ty and Dr. Michael, about people who don't understand this, but they're let's call them charlatans. They go out there to try to make money, to sell these products when they have no idea what they're doing. I mean, what do people do to be able to get away from folks like that? Who wants that? Michael?
I would honestly suggest that they read Ty's book. He's one of the best medical researchers I've ever met, even though he's not a doctor. His research is impeccable. And I think they can get the information they need to keep away from these charlatans, and I find them despicable myself. And Ty and I have talked about it a great deal, but I can't recommend his book, Cancer Truth, enough.
Yeah, they're out there. Okay, let's go to final calls here for the moments that we have remaining. First